Does this harden hearts and make a ceasefire harder to achieve, or through these protests that you are going to be covering today, does it get closer? Does it get Israel closer to a ceasefire deal?
I think it gets Israel closer to a real abyss of the society, because I think your question is a very good one, because I think so far these protests are kind of filling society with this sense that something can change, that a ceasefire deal can be achieved, and that the government can be prodded. But from what we can see thus far, you see some of the remnants of this protest walking by me now, but from what we know thus far, the vastness of these protests is also stiffening the backs of Netanyahu and his really radical nationalist government. So what you're seeing is a clash between a majority opinion and a minority-supported government that feels otherwise.
Noga, thank you for your excellent reporting, as always. Noga Tarnopolsky is an independent journalist with more than 20 years of experience covering the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. All right, let's turn now to the 2024 election, with 65 days until Election Day. At this stage, if you split screen this election, you'll see two very different campaigns. Feels like we've been trying for 8 years collectively as a country to come up with the right words to describe the politics of Donald Trump, but they are still hard to put into words. He's a man who unabashedly lied and cheated right in front of our eyes, and who wears every scandal and criminal charge and felony conviction as a badge of honor, and it more or less works for him. He's still the standard bearer for one of our two major political parties, and he is still the nominee for president. Again, during his presidency, we talked a lot about Earth 1 and Earth 2, because it felt like with his election, we'd veered off into some dark timeline of alternate reality. When the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, entered the race as Kamala Harris's running mate, Walz called Trump and his Republican running mate, J.D. Vance, weird, which is such a Midwestern, nice kind of insult. But the word weird did seem to bother Trump. And if you take a look at the two sides of this campaign trail from the past week alone, you can definitely see a team normal versus a team weird pattern emerge. The campaign trail ran through Georgia for Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate Tim Walz last week. They were on a two-day bus tour to parts of Georgia that don't typically get a lot of attention from Democratic politicians. According to the Harris campaign, it was the first time a general election presidential candidate has campaigned in Savannah, Georgia, since the 1990s. They greeted college students from Savannah State University, Georgia's oldest publicly historically black university. They crashed a marching band rehearsal at Liberty County High School. They stopped for some barbecue and sweets at a local establishment. Nothing to see here, because it's exactly what normal campaigning looks like: meeting people, shaking hands, trying to try out the local cuisine. Georgia was also the site of Harris and Walz's first joint interview since the ticket was announced, and it was an interview that was remarkably normal. Standard fare. No bombshells, no insults, no threats or authoritarian threads to pull. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, on the other hand, their vibe was weird. While a measured Kamala Harris discussed policy plans and defended her qualifications, Trump spoke at a town hall in Wisconsin about windmills and bacon. And earlier in the week, he debased the hallowed grounds of Arlington National Cemetery, deeply offending a lot of Americans and veterans. This is what Team Normal versus Team Weird split screen looked like this past week.
Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it, which is why my agenda includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries.
Some people don't eat bacon anymore, and we are going to get the energy prices down. When we get energy down, you know, this was caused by their horrible energy wind. They want wind all over the place.
I think it's important to have people at the table when some of the most important decisions are being made that have different views, different experiences. And I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican.
Do you remember the Ivanka line and all?
I loved those shoes. Please tell your daughter. She made great shoes.
She was making so much money with that thing. I was saying, what the hell is going on?
We have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans.
The war on Christmas is back. Remember? 8 years ago, I said there's a war on Christmas. They were afraid to say Merry Christmas.
When Vice President Harris and I win this election, we'll have your back just like you've had ours this entire time.
President Trump and I are proud to be the most pro-worker Republican ticket in history, and I want to talk about why we're fighting for working people, why we're going to fight for unions and non-union alike.
The true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up.
You ever notice nobody knows what her last name is? I go, okay, I'm going to give you the first name. Tell me the last name. I say, Kamala. They have no idea who the hell she is. Somebody said, women don't like Donald Trump. I said, I think that's wrong. I think they love me.
He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
The Team Normal versus Team Weird split screen is accurate, but it is not a complete picture. Trump and Vance seem so weird because they're doing an entirely different thing. They're playing an entirely different game. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are talking about plans and policies that are trying to relate to voters because they are normal politician or political figures who want to lead the country, and they believe they've got the best ideas for America. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are alienating voters. They're offending people. They're delivering meandering off-topic remarks because they're not trying to win over voters with policies and plans they believe in. They represent a shrinking small tent party that caters to extremists pushing what they know are deeply unpopular policies, and they're led at the top of the ticket by a convicted felon and election denier who tried to overturn the last election he lost and is trying to lay the groundwork to do it again.
The Democrats play a different game. And you have ballot harvesting, but you also have people getting ballots. I mean, in California, you have people getting 7 ballots. Anytime you have a mail-in ballot, there's going to be massive fraud.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you might be able to do as president.
Well, you can do everything. President has such power.
All right, all of that was just last week. So when you see the juxtaposition of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump on the campaign trail, the way they speak, how they act, the tone they use, it almost doesn't matter. What matters is this. One of the nominees wants to take American rights away, wants to consolidate the power of the federal government under his finger, wants to deny the will of the people if the election does not go his way. During Harris's interview with CNN last week, she was asked what she'd do on day one as president. Here's her response.
day one?
Day one, it's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families, for example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib.
Okay, I sometimes think the day one thing is overdone because a presidency is all 4 years. But Harris caught some criticism from some who called that a vague answer. So I guess if specificity is your measuring stick, Donald Trump won that round with his super specific answer about what he's going to do on the proverbial day one of his presidency.
You would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border, and I want to drill.
That's not retribution. I'm
going to be, you know, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one.
That's absolutely normal stuff. After a quick break, we'll get into all of this with Aaron Haynes and the 19th News and MSNBC's Steve Bennett. We'll be right back.
Higher shipping rates may be the cost of doing business, but at what cost?
Turn shipping to your advantage with low-cost ground shipping from the United States Postal Service.
We all salute the brave men and women who serve in our military and protect our streets. They're true heroes, but they often couldn't do what they do without their powerful partners, the canine heroes we don't always think about. From explosive detection to hunting bad guys and working search and rescue, saving lives abroad and right here in our home communities. But due to limited and declining budgets, these dogs aren't getting the protective gear, life-saving treatments, and proper handler training they need to survive.
The lack of resources for these dogs is sometimes shocking. That's why I founded Spike's Canine Fund. When I was in the service, I spent the majority of my time in the special operations community. Spike was my first working dog. He was killed in Iraq. The mission of Spike's Canine Fund is to protect these dogs, to protect our country and its communities.
Spike's Canine Fund supports these heroes by providing working canines the tools, training, and care they need. For less than a cup of coffee a day, you can make a life-saving impact to a canine hero. You'll immediately receive information on the dogs you help.
These are living, breathing souls, not just equipment. They deserve the care and protection that we can give them. When you donate to Spike's Canine Fund, you're providing vests for dogs like Miko. You're providing medical support to dogs like Gemma. And you're giving training and GPS collars to dogs like Bax.
That's why we need your help. We need funding. Every dollar makes a difference at Spike's Canine Fund.
With your small donation of just $5 a month, you're giving back to our heroes who give everything for us. Go to spikescaninefund.org now and get a special gift with your donation.
I love dogs. I love our country, and these dogs deserve everything that we can do for them. This is why I give.
I'm proud to give the Spikes for the dogs that serve. Giving to them makes this country safer.
These dogs deserve our support and to be provided with the care they need to work safely and retire as canine veterans, healthy and in comfort. It is the least we could do.
Donate now at spikescaninefund.org. That's spikescaninefund.org.
Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors. Easy to apply for the whole family. Vicks VapoStick. And try new Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Whatever life throws your way, just click through your day.
I'm about to put you onto something incredible.
It's Blue Chew.
Blue Chew.
Blue Chew?
Blue Chew.
Blue Chew. Blue Chew.
And it helps men achieve stronger and longer lasting erections, which is pretty helpful.
The best feeling is when we take off our bras. It's not true. Honeylove bras are the most comfortable bras I've ever worn. No underwire. There is some boning on the sides, which make it super comfortable and supportive. No back fat. Never. It's fun. It's beautiful. It's supportive.
Free 30-day returns. Shop now at honeylove.com.
Why do we accept waiting 2 weeks for payday? Thanks to Chime, I don't have to wait to get paid anymore. I couldn't believe it. I can get up to $500 of my pay on my schedule. There's no interest, no credit checks, no mandatory fees. Join me at chime.com and get paid when you say.
Cabinets to Go can design a beautiful, high-quality, and affordable kitchen makeover that is sure to wow.
You can't beat the price.
From a free 3D design to install, Cabinets to Go can do it all.
Cabinets to Go. Wow for less.
I could work out, I could dance, I could do anything in this bra. Honeylove bras are the most comfortable bras I've ever worn. No underwire. There is some boning on the sides, which make it super comfortable and supportive. No back fat. Never. It's fun, it's beautiful, it's supportive.
Free 30-day returns. Shop now at honeylove.com.
Joining me now, Aaron Haynes, editor-at-large at The 19th, host of the Amendment podcast and an MSNBC political contributor, and Steve Bannon, producer on The Rachel Maddow Show and New York Times bestselling author of his new book, Ministry of Truth, Democracy, Reality, and the Republicans' War on the Recent Past. Good morning and Merry Christmas to both of you. Just want to be clear, Christmas is still alive and well on Velshi. But man, this stuff is weird.